Hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me on the banks of the River Ribble. It's the last weekend of the river season. It closes later this week and we're in search of dace on the float. As you can see, it is blowing an absolute hoolie. It's a downstream wind, far from ideal conditions. The river low and clear, but we're out on the bank trying to get a bite. It's a bitterly cold easterly wind. The hands are freezing, but there's no place we'd rather be. Conditions today are going to make filming really difficult. Obviously, if I put the GoPro on my head, you're going to struggle to even hear me. So what we'll do is I'll try and make the best video that I can. Let's get started. Let's have a look at the setup and let's make a start. So looking at the side tray, we've got plenty of corn, nice heavy bait so we can get some bait out there. On previous sessions we have had quality here, so fingers crossed if we feed corn we can get some nice fish. Got plenty of white maggot, plenty of Hinders hemp, and I've also brought with me today quite a bit of ground bait, and that is if it gets really bad, at least I can get some bait in the swim. As you can see on screen now, it's a mixture of 2 ground baits and some crumb, so not being able to film too well today is probably a godsend. My little girl Abby's passed on a cold to me, so I'm full of a cold, got a sore throat, so yeah, maybe not talking all day is a good thing, but we're out on the bank and that's what it's all about. Started here on my 17-foot rod so we can get over the edge of the rocks. If it proves to be difficult, I am going to consider obviously standing on them rocks and putting my bait weighted in, but obviously it's really cold. So again, it's how long you can stand out there for. So I've started easy and we'll only go hard down there if we have to. So as you can see, we're starting the session off by feeding that ground bait, keeping them fish in them lower layers. So as you can see on screen now, the session started off really well. We've managed to get that bait into the swim and we're picking up a few bites on that line. First bite of the last weekend. He's a bit battered, but what a beautiful dace that is. The wind's howling, but yeah, he isn't in great condition. But to get a bite, more than made up. Although you can see on screen now that it wasn't always as easy to get the float in the water. That wind was an absolute nightmare. But to start the session off, we did get a few bites, as you can see on screen. So I know a lot of you guys who subscribe to the channel like to know the tactics that I use and my thought process. So what I'm doing, I'm putting plenty of hemp in, like a double pouch with the catapult, and the same with maggots, and then I'm trying to get a couple of runs through or hopefully fish from it, and I'm putting in a ball of ground bait, putting it out there. What I'm finding best is to try and cast the float further out and feeding that ground bait round about there, so the float's out there, it has time to settle, that bait's going down here, all downstream, and then I'm getting the bites further out as it comes into that line. So I'm kind of missing this bit out here, because if I cast here, the float's going to be here within seconds. If I cast further out, I'm sacrificing the first bit of the trot to get the bites here. Very hard conditions today. We've gone up to a 6-gram bollo just to keep the float in the water. You see there with it coming up, and when you can present a bait, you know, you get a few bites, but very, very difficult. As we know with the mighty River Ribble, the fish are there, but yeah, that's a lovely fish. That it looks like a chub, so there's definitely some fish in the swim, but very, very difficult. As you can see, that gusting wind, my nose is running, but boy am I happy, and no place I'd rather be. And there's definitely quality in the swim today. It's just very hard to present a bait. So there we go, the final net of fish, and as you can see we've had plenty of bites to end the season. A hard day's fishing, most definitely. That wind really didn't help, but as you can see we've had plenty of bites. All that remains is me to wish you all tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch you all next week. Tight lines.